Kenya has been stripped of the rights to host China in January of 2018. Kenyans are up in arms wondering how this could have happened. The government is on the spot, and to speak more on this and maybe answer the question if this is one of the consequences of a political temperatures as they are now, with me in studio is Nerima, Wako, Executive Director at Siasa Police. I am joined by Gladys Shollei, Wasingishu Woman Rep, and we have Advocate Alutalala, Mukhwana. Thank you for joining us. Well, Gladys, the first question here is, was this a lack of political will or just misplaced priorities in the case of Jubilee?
On the issue of Chan?
Yes.
I think it's all we know is that we've been told that there was infrastructural unpreparedness and that the political temperatures or the security wasn't felt to be conducive. But I think whoever the ministry that is responsible is going to be answering a lot of hard questions. We are going to be asking questions. I think the president will be asking difficult questions, and so will the deputy, because this was something he promised to Kenya, but they don't deliver by themselves. And so I think we actually want to hear answers from the ministries that were responsible, because usually there's a financing and then the ministry that is supposed to ensure that the infrastructure is put in place, and the negotiating ministry. And I think it's too early for me to say anything until I hear answers from them. And I'm going to be asking, and I'd like to know, because it's a shame. It's a big shame.
4.2 billion shillings was released just last Thursday to actually supplement the budget that was going into in the infrastructure in as far as the stadia is concerned. What does that tell you?
Now, first, Gladys, thank you very much for hosting me, and I think it's in order to begin by congratulating Gladys Boss Shollei for her election.
Thank you.
Congratulations. First of all, Gladys, we should not even be talking about a supplementary budget to cater for a promise that was the anchor of Jubilee's promise to the people of Kenya. You see, these are some of the things that as lawyers we keep asking. At what point do we differentiate propaganda from manifestos? Because a manifesto is a true declaration of what the government intends to fulfill to its people. As recent as this year, and there was a clip that has just been aired, the deputy president, none other than the deputy president himself, saying that in 3 months, this stadium will be complete. In 6 months, and going ahead and saying, our manifesto talked of 6 new stadiums, we are actually delivering 9. Hardly a year ago. So it cannot be that now, at this time when we are having problems in the elections, we are now being told the supplementary budget is coming to take care of that. That is not acceptable. Let's also go slightly back. When Jubilee government came into power, they had a wonderful manifesto. And some of us believed that if that was going to be delivered as per what they had said, it was going to be a wonderful country. Sports is pivotal when you're talking about youth and employment. And if you look at the way it was handled, I dare say, it is part of our larger problem of politicizing everything. Take one example. Why on earth would you leave Mombasa Stadium out of the picture for such a big occasion and start struggling to renovate Meru Kinoru Stadium? We all know that our brothers from Meru are not football fanatics. You bring it Mombasa and the stadiums will be full. So I think, in my view, that there is the usual Kenyan politicization of each and everything that we do. And now that the chicken has come home to roost, the government has been left with an egg on its shell.
Okay, Nerima, they promised 9 stadiums in the last manifesto we had earlier on in the year. We're talking about the Jubilee government. And they started the work on the stadiums just this month. What do you read into that?
Well, it's a lack of preparedness and disorganization. I mean, also when we think about the promises that were made, do we perhaps bite off more than we can chew? Do we, as a people, promise large things but not really think about the general procedures or processes that lead toward that? Because a lot of times, even if you look at things, we do a lot of things last minute. Even if we think about the Supreme Court proceedings and how, files were being petitioned to the very last hour. But that's not the way things work. So when you're dealing with something like Chan, which is internationally involved with even other African countries, you have to put in mind that time is valuable. It's very important. And it's a shame, actually. I think it's quite a disappointment, especially, as my friend here has mentioned, for the youth. Because sports is such an integral part of our country. And for those young people, those stadia is a very big deal. So what does it mean to them?
If I may say, Gladys, I think what's been said is it's true. It's a big shame. But I think this will be the time for us to interrogate. In fact, I think you'll have a whole show on it when they do actually give us the answers. When the ministries and the technocrats in office tell us exactly what went wrong, then we'll be able to deliberate it better. Was it an issue that the money was released late? Was it an issue that whoever did the planning underestimated the amount of time it takes it for it done? Or was it that someone just made a brief and say it's possible to deliver in 9 months? I know when I've supervised projects, you ask people, you ask the technocrats, how long will it take? And they tell you this number of time. So this is something that I think Kenyans will really be asking questions about.
And speaking about asking questions, I mean, we saw CSs on the ground, even campaigning during the campaign season, and yet we did not prioritize something that we were given the rights to host in 2014.
Yes, and they will be answerable to Kenyans for that, for sure. They will be answerable to Kenyans, because if they were not on duty and not getting their job done, and as I said, we will narrow down to exactly who it is and what went wrong. But and I know they will have to take responsibility, I have no doubt.
Well, in 1996, they said we did not have the funds to actually host it. But this time around, the money clearly was there. It was released last week. So did we not prepare for it, or did we not have a political will, do you think?
The Swahili say, utendaji kazi mbaya. We talk too much, we promise too much, we play to the gallery, but we do very little. You know, Gladys, the biggest tragedy you have in this country, and I keep saying, is that lies and dishonesty has been institutionalized. So that Kenyans have come to be used to being lied to. I've just said that none other than the Deputy President, this year actually, if you replay that clip, he said we are on course and this are going to be done. It cannot be that he was saying at that time when there was no money, Gladys.
No, I'm not defending this because I do not have the details. I'm one of those people who don't comment on something that I don't have the full facts of.
It's all about the fact that we as Kenyans are never taken seriously. In the developed world, a government will resign because of this. Because millions of youth will be stranded. And also, Gladys, as a people, I think it's a high time we started asking questions and holding our politicians to account. You promised A, before you come back and ask for a vote, can you please justify? If we were in America, for example, in very developed countries, this would be a cause for Jubilee actually to lose an election. But because we are in a tribal democracy, everything does. And it's very, very upsetting.
Well, talking about politics, we're taking stock. Are political leaders abdicating their political responsibility in pursuit of their interests? One of those casualties looks like it's the China 2018. What else is at stake?